working on a strong spa that's using a 56 frame 110 volt pump, and these pumps are super hard to find. They don't really make them 56 frame at 110 volts for 11 amps, so none of my suppliers have them, and trying to find a motor, it's really hard. We tried running a serial number, part numbers, can't find them. So, I mean, several years ago, they were using them for their tubs. But this is why, with the knowledge we have, we figure out a solution. So, we got a pump here that's 110. That'll match closely to the specs here, get the customer up and running. So, here's the old one. I'm going to put on the new one. It's a hot summer day here in June. Get the customer up and running. Let's get started. So these bolts here are rusted, and I thought we were going to have a harder time getting it off. Luckily, they're not hard at all. Damn, it's super hot out here today. Right in the middle of the sun. But no biggie, used to it. Yeah, it's getting a little too hot, so we set up our umbrella here. So that way we're not cooking out here in the sun. So let's get this pump out. Alright, see if we're gonna get lucky with these units here. That's off. So we're comparing the impeller sizes here. That's the 1 horse. This is supposedly the 1.5 horse, but it's huge. So yeah, you can see the huge difference in here. Well, we got this new pump in, wired up. We're gonna pop it in right now. Here's the old one. So this is gonna be fun because this is a 56 frame and this is a 48 frame. Again, they don't sell 56 frames in 110s. They're very hard to find, almost non-existent. And then we do have a lot of 48 frame 110. So we got the appropriate impeller in there. We're gonna go ahead and reinstall it, and then we're gonna have to address the heater. The heater's leaking. Replace that as well. We got some new gaskets we're going to put on here. I always put on new gaskets just because why use the old ones, and the old ones are shot. You can see here, this is falling apart. So always replace the gaskets when we replace a heater or a pump. Alright, we got the pump going. It looks like it's gonna line up perfectly. This is the reason why I always tend to replace pumps with the same kind of wet end. Not all pumps in the spa industry are the same. We always tend to use the same kind of pump with the same kind of plumbing features, because if we were to use a different type like Aquaflow or XB2, we'll be running into a situation where the discharge side will be too much, or this will be too short or too long, and it just becomes a nightmare. And because we have a T here, it's not something I want to spend all day replumbing. So this is why we use the correct parts. That's why we're professionals here. All right, here's the heater. We're gonna go ahead and service the heater right now. So you can see here, So we got this union off, and you can already see this is using those silicone gaskets, and I'm not a big fan. Look at that. It's just falling apart, getting all over my fingers. Eventually this will start leaking, and if the leak is too bad, very bad, you'll have to replace the whole manifold. But looks like they're catching it just in time too, so lucky for the customer. We'll take care of this. We'll put new gaskets. Again, we always use gaskets when we are servicing the spa. It's falling apart too. Oh, God, that's spinning. All right, so I got the heater coil out. I'm inspecting the manifold here. I did told the customer there was a lot of rust here. If there's signs of pinhole leaks developing on the stainless steel, then we're gonna have to replace the entire manifold. But where I see that corrosion, it was right around here. I don't really see any pinholes developing, and in here, actually inside the manifold looks pretty clean, solid. Normally you could tell when there's a pinhole leak developing because you'll see one little tiny rust spot somewhere in the manifold, and if you look and you see that little rust spot and you look on the outside and it seems like within the same place, then that's a pinhole leak. It's compromised, so you'll have to replace it. But in this case, we're good. You can see some of the etching happening here. Not too bad, but yeah, the customer will be good, just replacing the coil. Alright, got the new coil on. Now we're just gonna tighten up the unions. Already got this one in. Hard to do this one with one hand, but I'm replacing it with new gaskets. Black rubber gaskets. They do tend to last a lot longer and resist chemicals than the silicone based ones, so that's what I normally use for my business. Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put this down. Starting to fill the spa. We'll wait for it to fill up and do the final testing. Make sure the pump's working, make sure the heater turns on, and the customer will be all set. In the meantime, we'll just have to wait. But so far so good. I don't see any water dripping anywhere. Spa's on. We're still adding a little bit more water, but high enough to test. Pump's on. No leaks. Everything looking good so far. Heater's on. Pulling 10 amps total. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Customers back in business. We're almost filled. And no leaks at all. No leaks at all anywhere. Let's go ahead and kick on high speed. We should be high enough for high speed. If we open up the service valve or the air valve, wow. And high speed at 8 amps. Super efficient. Spa's filled to the proper level. Everything's working great. Heater's on. The new pump is running beautifully again. So we're buttoning it up. We already got that side closed. Just gonna close this side back up and finalize the invoice, collect, and we'll be all set for today. Another happy customer.